All right, welcome to episode number 65 of the Let's Discuss Gaming podcast. I am your host, Triple J. Joining me is my co host, Dr. Games 101.
Hey there, guys. What's going on?
And we're going to do what we do every other Saturday talk about the latest news in gaming. You ready to start?
Yes, indeed. This is we interesting news about Microsoft Activision.
All right, yep. All right, so let's start. First story up. European Union reportedly preparing to challenge Microsoft's Activision Blizzard deal. Perhaps another complication for Microsoft. The European Union is reportedly planning to submit a statement of objections to Microsoft regarding its acquisition of Activision Blizzard. Sources familiar with the matter told Reuters that Microsoft is likely to receive an EU antitrust warning regarding its $68.7 billion acquisition of the Call of Duty and World of Warcraft publisher, adding to the growing list of organizations raising concerns about the deal. The statement of objections charge sheet is expected to be set in the coming weeks, though Microsoft has seemingly maintained that it's confident in the deal's success. We're continuing to work with the European Commission to address any marketplace concerns, it said. Our goal is to bring more games to more people, and this deal will further that goal. The deal has been scrutinized elsewhere as well, including by various U.S. senators, the City of New York, and the U.S. Justice Department, and finally headlined by the Federal Trade Commission suing to block the deal in December. The UK's Government Competitions and Markets Authority was also forced to extend its investigation into the deal earlier this month due to its complexity and the lengthy responses provided by both Microsoft and Sony. In one of these responses released earlier in October, Microsoft essentially said that PlayStation is too big to fail even if it did acquire these games, and that Sony already has way more exclusives anyway. So, what do you think about another? What do you think about another company trying to block the Activision deal?
Well, it's Sony, right? That's has its concerns about that deal. So,
No, this is the European Union.
well, European Union is actual like an entity of itself as far as like a organization, not an actual company. But what's the difference, right? So,
Yeah.
because the European Union has been around for at least what 30, 40 years now, and it's supposed to be like this big, entity where it controls everything in Europe, obviously. So they kind of like overdoing it. Like I understand there's international concerns as Activision Blizzard has dealings in Europe and all, but if they really want to, they can block their own territory from the Activision Blizzard deal and just leave it here in the North American area. Personally, myself, if I'm the one starting to make that deal happen between Activision Blizzard and Microsoft, I would let them and see what happens because it's business is business. You can't just interfere with the process. I mean, of course, it sounds like a monopoly and all. Like in the end, it's like who are you trying to overtake what? And that's how it is for decades. I mean, back 30 years ago, was it what's it called Time Warner Cable and AOL, which was supposed to be bought out and merged with Time Warner. Now it's called Spectrum now, because at one point it was called Time Warner for about a few years, about prior to that. So I guess you could say that the European Union is overstepping their bounds. What they should do is actually because they have regulations like the PEGI board and stuff like that with the review of certain games. So that's all you should do for the time being. Let it be known that whatever games coming out of Activision, Blizzard, and Microsoft, let that happen, and that's it. As long as you don't overthrow the European Union itself. I mean, I don't know how's that possible, but I don't know. Yeah, there's too much control over things lately. I just didn't want to make sure they're not being screwed over by within the country and all with the taxes and buying their products, things like that with Activision and Microsoft. But in the end, it is a business. So
Yeah, and the thing is, I mean, as big as Call of Duty is, Call of Duty is not the end all be all. I mean, what World of Warcraft is that even still a thing?
oh yeah.
I mean, there's, say Sony did lose Call of Duty, but Microsoft said they want to bring it to Nintendo and Steam if they get the rights to it. Well, then, I mean, it's again, it's like there's no positive as long as they follow through on what they plan to do.
hmm
even said, we want to bring this to more platforms, not less. And everyone keeps it's and everyone just still like it's like those plans fall on deaf ears. Everyone
Yes,
thinks
indeed.
Microsoft is going to do what they think Microsoft's going to do, not what Microsoft says it intends to do.
Sometimes the actions can be speak as loud as words at times. Now, of course, yes, actions speak louder than words, but there are times people will say they're going to do something, they say they're going to do it, and they do it.
Right.
Well, which company was it? What company was it where they said they're going to do something with certain deals and such? I mean, was it companies like I can't think of the exact company right now, but I know one thing is certain that there are times in business, especially if you see the CNBCs and the Bloomberg stuff like that. CEOs will come out in the open, tell them, "Oh, we're gonna buy this, we're gonna buy that, and such and such," and then weeks, months, years later, they do because they just don't have the time for it, or they try to take their time with the matter. So
Yeah. So I mean, the European Union. It's just it's. I mean, I I keep reporting on it because I want to know what ends up happening with this deal if it ever eventually does go through.
right,
But it's it's just like so many hands in the pot, and those hands don't need a pot. Microsoft wants to buy it. If Sony wants to buy it, they should have the right to buy it also. I'm talking Activision Blizzard. If not, and Microsoft is saying we're not taking Call of Duty away from anyone, you know what? Give Microsoft a chance. Because the thing is, if Microsoft says we're going to bring Call of Duty to more people, and then they do make it a Microsoft Xbox exclusive, their credibility is going to be destroyed.
right,
So it's kind of like, ever since they came out publicly saying we won't bring it to Nintendo, we won't bring it to Steam, we won't keep it on Sony, we won't keep it on Xbox, it's kind of like they have to do that now unless it's something out of their control. If Steam says we don't want Call of Duty for whatever reason, they can't force them to take it.
hmm
But, if Xbox says no, we're going to make it exclusive, their credibility would be destroyed.
yeah,
And that would hurt their business more than any acquisition, or that would hurt their business more than any acquisition any other company could get.
hmm
So I just think again, a lot of people are getting involved when they don't need to.
yeah. Sony, that I've been hearing for years, decades, even almost, of Sony. They're like the backstabbers of any business deal when it comes to the electronic gaming sphere of business. And so basically, if you want to do deals with Sony, they'll backstab you here. But with companies like that of Microsoft Xbox, they just want to have their hand in the gaming industry for like what 20 years now, almost over. So it's kind of like Sony. Like it's if you really just want the one that's so badly, why don't you bid for it? Make it a make a bigger bid. Oh yes,
Right.
oh sure they did bought one gaming studio for about what $3 billion. That was like how many months ago though? So
Yeah, Sony and Microsoft were buying up studios, and no one was saying jack. I mean, these deals were going through crazy fast.
oh
That's
yeah,
why it's so crazy that this one's taking months, and this looks like there's no end in sight. At least at this time.
oh yeah,
Ready to move on?
yeah. I'm ready.
All right. Next, that's coming up later. Microsoft lays off 10,000 people. Cuts reportedly include Xbox and Bethesda. Microsoft hired more than 75,000 people since 2019 and is now scaling back. Microsoft is cutting more jobs this week, with CEO Satya Nadella confirming 10,000 layoffs during what the executive described as times of significant change. The job losses reportedly affect people at Xbox and Bethesda, in addition to Microsoft's wider teams at large. In a memo to staff, Nadella said that 10,000 layoffs, which amount less than 5% of the company's total workforce, or more than 220,000, will take place beginning today, January 18th, through the end of its third quarter of fiscal year 2023. According to the New York Times, Microsoft hired more than 75,000 people since 2019 to help meet demands for growing interest in online services and cloud computing due to the onset of the pandemic. This is just the latest round of layoffs at Microsoft, as Nadella eliminated around 25,000 jobs between 2014 and 2015 as a result of abandoning the company's Nokia business. It's important to note that while we are eliminating roles in some areas, we will continue to hire in key strategic areas. We know this is a challenging time for each person impacted. The senior leadership team and I are committed that as we go through this process, we will do so in the most thoughtful and transparent way possible, Nadella said. The CEO did not say which departments within Microsoft are affected, but Bloomberg reported that Microsoft's Xbox and Bethesda divisions are affected in some capacity. A spokesperson for Microsoft declined to comment about if the layoffs affected Xbox when approached by GameSpot. Bloomberg's Jason Schreier noted that several employees indicated Halo Infinite developer 343 Industries was hit hard. Explaining the job cuts, Nadella said they stem from Microsoft's making adjustments to its business in response to the pandemic, looming recession fears, and advancements to AI technology. First, as we saw customers accelerate their digital spend during the pandemic, we're now seeing them optimize their digital spend to do more with less. We're also seeing organizations in every industry and geography exercise caution as some parts of the world are in a recession and other parts are anticipating one, he said. At the same time, the next major wave of computing is being born with advances in AI as we're turning the world's most advanced models into a new computing platform. Nadella said he is confident that Microsoft will emerge from this stronger and more competitive. Microsoft will make strategic investments as it looks to future growth, with AI being one of the pillars, while the company will also divest in other areas, Nadella said. These are the kinds of hard choices we have made throughout our 47-year history to remain a consequential company in this industry that is unforgiving to anyone who doesn't adapt to platform shifts, Nadella said. Microsoft will incur a $1.2 billion charge due to severance costs for outgoing employees, as well as changes to our hardware portfolio and the cost of lease consolidation as we create higher density across our workspaces. Nadella described the job cuts as difficult but necessary, he said. Affected employees will receive Microsoft's full support, and this includes above-market severance pay, health care for 6 months, ongoing vesting of stock awards for 6 months, career transition services, and 60 days notice before termination for those not yet notified. This applies to Microsoft workers in the U.S. Affected workers outside the U.S. will receive benefits aligned with local employment laws. For Microsoft's latest quarter, the company earned $50.1 billion in revenue, which was up 11%, and made a profit of $17.6 billion, which was down 14%. So, and looking ahead, Microsoft is reportedly going to invest $10 billion into OpenAI and continues to try to acquire Activision Blizzard for $68.7 billion, as we talked about. So, what do you think of all these layoffs happening with Microsoft? I mean,
well, even though Microsoft decided to buy the Activision Blizzard deal for how many billions now, 70 billion, and laying off workers and make a $50 billion market for the matter, I think they contradicted themselves now on this one. And I'm not saying that I don't know the whole intricacies of Microsoft as a business. No one does outside of Microsoft, but still, it's like between Phil Spencer and Major Nelson and Bill Gates and all, I think they know what they're doing with these companies, with their companies like Xbox and now Activision Blizzard soon to be. But still, it's like I know that I know the whole we don't know the whole details of what they're trying to do. Obviously, it's whatever's on record from Microsoft and Xbox on the inside. That's what's from them. But they just be either too greedy or just overconfident, or both even. And
we're also thinking of Microsoft. The way we're looking at it, or at least you're looking at it, is like Microsoft has one thing, their hands in one thing. Like they said, the Nokia phone division, that's being hit hard because Nokia phones. Honestly, I thought Nokia was just as relevant as N-Gage. I thought Nokia phones were dead.
Right.
Since they might be now, that would understand. Hey, if they're getting rid of the Nokia phone division, if that whole phone division is housed in one office or multiple offices, and only the Nokia division is in those offices, if they're letting the Nokia phone division go, why do they need to keep the offices that houses that division?
Yeah.
That so like they said, Nokia phones is getting hit hard. They weren't specific with anything else, so it's not like they're in. It's not like the Microsoft as a whole is in financial distress. It's just it looks like they said there are certain parts that they're not going to need so many employees anymore. Like I said, I thought Nokia phones was already dead. Maybe I was wrong about that.
Still relevant, most likely. It's like with track phone. Track phone has been in business, during the economic crisis and all, and had to increase sales due to the Obama phone program, they call it, back in 2008 and all. So I guess you could say it's a hit and miss between each company, because obviously, in dire straits of what event is of that today can be of a treasure for the next day. So I guess Microsoft's trying to play their cards right too, in a matter as well what you've been explaining.
Right. And we don't know. I mean, they did say Xbox and Bethesda, but maybe, like you said, maybe they hired too many people and now they just don't have jobs for those people. So, they got to trim the fat, which any company really has to do.
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm not trying to say that they can't do that. It's just that after $70 billion later, it's kind of like if you can spend that much, I mean, you can spend a little more than yourself, because then again, they don't want to overspend too much. So it's like a hit and miss. But companies like that of what's it like Sony? I mean, Sony and PlayStation and all. I mean, I think they are doing their due diligence, try to make sure, like you said before, they try to balance out the justification of things, the juxtaposition you want to call it.
Yeah.
It's like they want to like create that good balance between the two head honchos, which is Xbox, Microsoft, and Sony PlayStation. And yes, they're like the top tier in the business of gaming, but one of them got try to outdo the other. So it's kind of like it is what it is so far. So for the time being.
Yeah. So, I mean, and they also said they're investing more in AI, which, a lot of with, so, I mean, and then they said that with all the people they have to lay off, they're going to have to pay over $1 billion in severance packages. So,
It's actually not bad.
and
It's 10,000 workers for 1 billion. That's actually not bad for them.
yeah, and they also the thing is, it's not just the workers. Like I said, if they're getting rid of offices because certain divisions had an office just for them, and that division's being cleaned out, they probably have to end the lease on the office, or they have to continue. As far as I know, the way leases work, like uh, when you lease like an apartment or something, you have to pay all that money, even if you're not going to be living there anymore. Like if you move out before the lease is up, you still have to pay, however long the lease is in effect for.
Hmm.
So, like if they're getting rid of the office and they lease that office space, they're still going to have to pay whatever was left on the lease.
Oh yes.
So there's that. And they did say anyone still working there that will be eventually cut is going to get 2 months' notice before they are cut
Hmm.
going forward. So, yeah, it sucks, but Microsoft isn't the only company laying off people.
I
We're going
guess
to.
if I can say this, though, I guess you could say that there's been signs and rumors of a recession coming sometime this year or at the end of
Yep.
this year, and I guess Microsoft's trying to soften the blow a bit before it's too late.
Yeah, that's true. That there's been rumors of not even at the end of this year, like quarter 3 of this year,
Hmm.
like somewhere like in the end, like the middle of summer to the beginning of fall. Um, a recession looks like it could hit, and I hate to say it, but look, who got us into this mess over the last 2 years.
Yeah, give me more stimmy checks, give me more, you know,
Yeah,
give me that. Now, it was several stimmy checks. We should be getting more of that for Ukraine money. The Ukraine, I think the presidency want to give, excuse me, about $50 billion to Ukraine during this Ukraine Putin war, we're gonna call it. So
with how much has been given already.
yeah. And
So
this is one video of this homeless man with some guy in a suit. They've been doing this for like the last few weeks now. They've been going to Congress. Well, this video is calmer, but they went to Congress like, "Where are you, politicians? Where are you?" And then the homeless guy was like, "Give me that Ukraine money." It was funny. When, it, when there's this was also another video that the same people that did it, they were like the homeless man was half naked, and then the guy in the suit was like trying to go into this random office. I don't know what the office was about exactly, but they're like, "Excuse me, sirs, and the gentlemen, the ladies, can you tell me more about your company? Why you laid off so many workers?" And stuff, and then the homeless guy was like trying to flop his arms around and shit like that. And he was like, "Yeah, you just ready to give us that money? Give us that money!" And a group of these workers came together and just blocked them out of their offices behind the glass door with the security card and stuff like that. I don't know how they got inside, but they also got a leaker or someone in on the inside to bring them in, and it was funny. And the homeless man was losing his pants and all.
Oh, jeez.
Because it was a group of people fighting these two guys, the one in the suit and the half naked homeless guy.
Yeah, but the thing is, the money's got to come from somewhere. That's what people don't understand. Why are we paying so much for food than we were during? I mean, that's the thing that people don't understand. We're paying for so much more now for groceries than we were during the actual pandemic when people weren't working.
Oh yeah,
That should be a warning sign that things are a lot worse than they were just a couple of years ago.
indeed.
So, and it looks like other companies are feeling the effect. You ready to move on? Because we're about to hear about another company that's felt this.
Oh yeah, like that of GameStop and all. GameSpot actually.
I think so. I think that's next. No,
Alright.
Riot Games.
Okay, no.
Riot Games lays off 46 as wave of games industry job cuts continue. League of Legends developer says layoffs were part of our normal course of our business. Riot Games has laid off 46 employees amidst an ongoing wave of industry mass layoffs. The League of Legends developer confirmed to journalist Jacob Wolf that it had eliminated the positions which were largely concentrated in the company's talent acquisition, recruiting, and publishing departments, as well as a few roles in esports and support. Riot employs roughly 4,500 people globally. In a statement to the Jacob Wolf report, a Riot representative called the layoffs part of the normal course of business. Riot Games implemented strategic shifts within a few teams to sharpen our focus in a number of areas. With these shifts, certain roles were eliminated, impacting a total of 46 rioters. This is part of our normal course of our business. We periodically make changes to our structure and our teams based on what we believe will allow us to deliver the best content and experiences for players. We never make these decisions lightly and will always start from a place of wanting to retain rioters and have them focus on our highest priorities. While that's not always possible, it's our primary goal. Riot additionally noted that it continues to hire and has over 150 open positions on its website. Riot's layoffs come amidst a much larger wave of ongoing layoffs across tech and media that continue to impact the game sector. Early this week, game engine maker Unity laid off over 200 employees. Yesterday, Microsoft laid off 10,000 employees, including those at the Coalition, 343 Industries, and Bethesda, while Amazon laid off 18,000 more. Earlier today, Fandom laid off between 40 and 50 employees, including editorial staff at both Giant Bomb and GameSpot, just months after it acquired the sites. So, Riot Games having to, they're hiring for one part of the business, but they had to let people go on the other part, which is, I guess, you know, I guess that's just part of thing. After you're done, you might have a job, you might not.
Hmm. Oh yeah.
Um,
And not to mention, I just looked up just now. I was just trying to reconfirm myself. I know that I heard Riot Games before. I didn't know what's behind making League of Legends. You figure after how many decades of this game being out and all, and I've heard of League of Legends since I was like a teenager, and never got much chance to get involved with that game specifically. But they make how much money over the last 10 years now, at least. And I seen promos on YouTube of Riot Games doing with the League of Legends and all. You figure they should have enough money to cover these costs for their workers and all, but I guess not. And also the fact that they've also been affected like that out of the Activision Blizzard because of the reputation of their sexual harassment and other harassment claims against the company, allegedly speaking. So it's like just
Not
a double blow to that.
not to mention Activision Blizzard is also the developers don't know if they're going to have a job next week.
Really,
They're just being told work on the games now, and we'll worry about what happens when we cross that bridge.
right? Yeah, I mean these games get more expensive and they increase in price in games, which is justified. But at the same time, there's people like who are like younger than us. They don't like to be paying for that monthly subscription to play online and such. That's why they stick with PCs, like the ones who are very well noted in PC gaming. And I can't blame them. Like PC gaming is like the way of the way of means for God knows how many decades of gaming. I mean, the only reason why console gamers, at least the people who play consoles like myself, or perhaps even you, Triple J, is because it's cheaper and also it's already ready made and able to play the games with no problems of up to that date or updated at the moment. So like the games like Tekken, for example, Tekken 7, or yeah, Tekken 7 now. We're up to Tekken 7 now, where if you try to play it on the Xbox, yes, it's a lesser population than of PC, but with the Xbox version, it's like more of this proper loading of the matter. It's not frozen, it's not delayed, it's not. There's very few crashes, nothing of that sort. Whereas if you play on the PC, you lack the parts there to play the game. Then it's like such and such. It just crashes and things of that matter. If you don't have the right PC parts, that is. So you know.
Yeah,
So I can
I mean,
understand. Yeah.
but I mean, it's like I said, it's just some of it is due to jobs ending because either they're not continuing games or they're not continuing certain games. Oh, thanks for the follow on Twitch. Can you roll your eyes back and make them go fully white like the Undertaker? I'm a WWE fan. No, I can't do that. I would do that if I can.
Yeah, I don't even
I'll
think
try. Nah, I wouldn't even know how to. So,
you probably mess up your eyes in the process. Yeah, I think I probably had to take a several times to practice. So
yeah. But thanks for the follow. Yeah. So I mean, it's just it's a difference between game projects ending. If that game's not successful, they could move a developer team to a different game, but they can only do that for so many people.
right,
So, and then, like I said, Microsoft is focusing on different things. So, like, since they're not focusing on Nokia phones, that department got hit hard
right,
with layoffs.
right,
They can't just take someone from Nokia phones and be like, okay, you're developing such and such now. Yeah, and it's just hitting hard. Ready to continue or anything
yeah.
else to add?
I'm good for now. Let's move on.
All right, next, Google lays